Well, the man whose allegations of sexual abuse last week resurrected the care home scandal has told this programme he handed the police photographs of some of the boys being abused in the late 1970s. Steve Measham says that one of the pictures features a second Conservative Party grandee who he says abused him. The man, who can't be named for legal reasons, denies the allegations. But very few of the abusers pictured were prosecuted. And Mr Measham says he's been told the police don't know where the photographs are. Here's Paraic O'Brien.
It's hard to imagine a more tragic misnomer, calling Bryn Eston a care home. The people who ran this home did more than sexually abuse the boys. They farmed them out to paedophiles. They were called trips away, and you were sent out even if, like Steve Measham, you didn't want a pass.
They used to just say, no, you're on a pass tonight. And as soon as they said that, you knew what was going to happen, and there'd be a car waiting for you. Sunday night was the worst night of all.
Do you remember the cars that used to turn up for you on Sunday nights?
Yeah, some of them, some you don't forget. I've been driven in Porsches, one red sports car which I don't know the make of, a Bentley, a Daimler, and if it was going to be a night where it was just the standard abusers, an Adventure.
So Steve, you're telling me that Daimler would pull up at the care home, you'd get in, a chauffeur-driven car presumably?
We had a driver.
And you'd be brought where?
It's wherever it was going to happen that time. Mainly happened to me in the Crest Hotel.
Did they come across as aristocratic?
They come across as very wealthy, very well-to-do, very smart. Oh, it stank of aftershave.
The other popular place for abuse was a council flat in Wrexham. Here the abusers would document the horror with a Polaroid camera.
You were raped, you were abused, you were beaten, you were given alcohol. Various pictures would be taken.
Did they take your picture?
Lots of them.
In 1979, Steve decided to try to get his own back. At 16, he broke into the flat and stole the photos.
How many photographs?
5 or 6 dozen at least.
So you took these photographs to the police station?
Yep.
You handed them over to a police officer?
Yep. I was asked, there was a desk, and I went in and I asked, I said, show me these pictures, and they called for a detective. He then got on the phone or called for someone, I can't remember exactly what happened, and a more senior officer came and took the photographs off me.
And what happened to those photographs?
Well, only 2 people ever got prosecuted and 1 got a warning.
We spoke to North Wales Police today about these photographs. They told us that now that the inquiry has been set up, they were not in a position to comment.
So to be clear, in those photographs, there were lots of other men.
Yes.
Photographs of them raping boys.
Yeah.
And what happened to those other men?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I remember when questioned on it, the police saying, well, you couldn't really identify some of the men. I'm sorry, I saw those pictures. You know, they weren't just of me, there was other boys on them as well. I saw them, so I know.
And you saw other men's faces?
Yeah.
Clearly?
Very clearly.
Whose face?
The prominent Tory member, for one.
His face, you could clearly see his
Yes.
face in one of those photographs?
Yes.
That you handed into the police?
Yes, more than one of those photographs.
Photographs of him raping a boy?
Yes. Including me.
How did you know who he was?
By the threats I got. When he threatened me, he told me who he was for a start, and number 2, that he would have me killed if I spoke out. But that was their standard way of doing stuff. Most abusers are like that.
Years later, he had another chance to tell the authorities his story at the Waterhouse inquiry into the North Wales care home scandal in the late 90s. According to Steve Measham, there he was aggressively cross-examined and, because of the parameters of the inquiry, told to remove names from his testimony.
About 6 to 8 weeks before I was due to give evidence, I was taken in a back room where I was told certain names had to be taken off. I wasn't allowed to come out with them. There'd be no questions asked about them.
So there was 30 to 32 names that you wanted on that statement. Is that right?
No, there's 30 to 32 names they took off the statement. There was over 60 names on my statements.
And why did they tell you you couldn't name the rest?
They just said to me, exact words were, we cannot have these people at this inquiry. You'll have to take them off your statements.
But there must have been a reason.
They didn't give me a reason. They just said they couldn't do it.